Hello, I'm Kirk Danielson, and I'm here with Patricia Thompson and her attorney, Jill Carlson. We are in a live video conference November 2nd, 2024, 9:34 Central Time, to document and discuss the events of Trisha's marriage and divorce. Trisha, would you like to tell us a little bit more about how your relationship started?
So I met Ricky Thompson in, I want to say, probably June of 2012, online, match.com. We talked online a little bit and then we went out. And then from there, it just progressed. We started hanging out more. And then we got married in November of 2012. I thought I knew him at that time. He presented himself as a hardworking Christian man who had great love for his children and everybody around him. So we got married, and it was a little strange right after we got married because we didn't go out on a honeymoon or anything. He went straight to his parents' house because it was in November around Thanksgiving. So we got married on a Friday and we took off to go see his parents on a Saturday. That Saturday, right after Friday, the next day, which I thought was strange. But at the time, he told me, well, no, that way we can, might have a little alone time, and I can't miss Thanksgiving with my parents and they can meet you and stuff. So I agreed to it. We went out there and basically hung out with his parents and maybe had 8 hours alone. And then when we got back, I moved into his house with him. And
let me just ask you a couple of clarifying questions. So you said he was a nice Christian man and he had children. Did he have children from before you met him?
yes, he had a son and a daughter.
Okay, and how old were they when you guys got married?
I want to say 4 and 5.
Okay, so they're pretty young.
Yeah, like 4, 5,
Jill,
or 6.
sorry, just one quick thing. Are we using the kids' names in this, Jill?
It's up to Miss Thompson.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
and so these children, his children, are one of them is now an adult, one of them is still a child. I don't know if we should use their names. I think maybe just your children's names, just to avoid any nonsense as far as a lawsuit. Would you agree, Patricia?
I would be comfortable using their names, but I don't know the ramifications of that. If it was
I
just
think
first,
it's okay to use the adult child's name. I think at this point in time, we should probably not use the child who's still a minor.
we could just say
Just
son and daughter too. We could.
okay.
because she
Okay.
did turn 17 this month.
Yeah, I say with her without her being 18, I think probably should avoid that one. But anyway, so he had two children. You had two stepchildren. Did you have any other kids of your own that you had at the time?
No,
Okay. And then also you said that right after you got married, you went to visit his parents. Where did you get married at?
we got married at Areola Bible Church by his pastor at the time, just him, Ricky, and his 2 kids.
And where is it? What town is Ariel Bible Church in?
It's in Cortez, Colorado.
Okay. And then you said you went to visit his parents. Where were his parents living?
At that time, they were living um, in Texas,
Somewhere
Abilene,
in
Texas.
Texas. Okay,
Abilene, Texas.
Abilene.
That's a
You
drive.
said okay. All right. So you get married, you and a 4 and a 5-year-old and your new husband drive down to Texas. Okay. Continue. Right.
So we spent a week there, maybe have 8 hours alone, and then we come back and I move into his house right away. Basically just me, because I had to get rid of all my furniture and all my stuff because he said we didn't need it. And so I moved into his house and I'm working full time. He's got his kids 50% of the time. So as soon as, you know, we got married, all of a sudden I'm picking up his children and taking them to and from daycare, helping him out, which I thought was a little much at first, but I went with it because at the time he told me his ex-wife was making it hard for him to do things, and I bought into that. And then so about
Can
maybe
you expand on that a little bit?
he said she wasn't letting him pick them up on time and that she was taking them during his time, so would have to go to daycare to make sure I was there at the appropriate time to pick them up, so that she couldn't say he wasn't picking them up on his parenting time. And
So let me ask you, when you were married, when you first got married, were him and his wife going through their divorce? I mean, had they divorced? I mean, I assume they'd been divorced, but were they going through custody issues or what?
they were going through custody issues. He just told me they were arguing about parenting time because apparently his mother told him that his daughter told her that her mother locked her in a garage by herself.
Okay. And was this
Yeah.
when they had child support litigation going on?
At the time they weren't paying each other child support. They were doing 50-50 without child support. It was just him saying she did this and no longer needs to parent the children.
Okay, so that was Mr. Thompson making claims that his ex-wife, the mother of your stepchildren, was not a fit parent.
Correct.
Okay, go on, please.
Can I
And
really
so
quick ask?
Sure.
Sorry, Patricia. So you said you left all your stuff and moved into his house. What was your living situation before you moved in? Your own
I
apartment or anything? Or?
I was renting a house and it was like a 3-bed, 2-bath, and I had a bedroom, a furniture, a living room, kitchen appliances, things like that.
Okay, and you'd been living there for some time then, I'm guessing, or
I was there for
maybe?
about 4 or 5 months, maybe.
Okay, not too crazy long. So then, when you said you left all your stuff, so we're talking you dropped it off to Goodwill, you did sales.
He actually had me give it away to people in his church
Okay.
and some of it to Goodwill and some of it to the trash.
Okay, I was just wondering because you said you gave up all your stuff. I'm like, well, what happened to it? So
Mhm.
I've moved a lot. All right, just curious. Sorry, continue.
And so I knew he was going through this parenting issue or trying to decide who should parent. And I wasn't aware of the depths of it till about February or March, when all of a sudden, he's telling me he's got to, go to court and there's going to be an investigator and all that.
February, March of 2013?
I'm sorry?
Was that February or March of 2013?
I want to say more towards March, but I don't really remember
It
very well.
was immediately after you got married, the year after you got married.
4 or 5 months later. Yeah.
Yeah, a few months later.
Okay. Right, thank you.
And so here comes this investigator asking questions. And so I'm just answering honestly, telling her what I've seen. And then after that, they go to court in Cortez. I get on the stand and tell what I know, which at that point is not very much. And then for some reason, the case gets booted to Durango and I don't go back to court. But then all of a sudden, he no longer has 50-50 custody. He has every other weekend and every Wednesday.
Okay, and so let me just ask you, you had talked about there being an investigator. Do you know what kind of investigator? Do you know why there was an investigation? Or let me ask you this. At that time, did you know why there was an investigation?
At that time, he told me it was because his ex was trying to get him out of the picture and
Okay.
was accusing him of doing things he didn't do.
Okay, have you ever met his ex?
No, actually, I've never met her.
Okay. Never spoken to her?
No,
And
In
so,
court?
sorry.
Then I was gonna say, did you meet her when you were in court testifying or anything? Or?
no. He told me not to go near her because she would hurt me.
Okay. Okay.
So you saw her in court though, you just didn't engage with her.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
her, but I was kept in the back and
Sure.
Okay, so go on.
so then all of a sudden out of the blue, it's no longer 50-50. It's every other weekend, every Wednesday. And when I asked why, I was told because she lied in court and nobody believes him. And then right after that, in June, he all of a sudden announced, I'm going to retire and have surgery on my neck.
And that's June of 2013, less than a year after you got married.
Yes.
How old was he when he said that he was going to retire?
He was mid 40s, maybe like
Okay,
45.
and what did Ricky do for a living?
He was a dentist at Shiprock.
And just for people who don't know, what is Shiprock?
Shiprock is on the Indian reservation, on the Navajo reservation in New Mexico, on the Four Corners area.
Okay, so he was the Navajo Nation dentist. Was he under like the Bureau of Indian Affairs?
No, he falls under Public Health Service.
Okay, thank you. All right, continue. So he told you he was going to retire and get surgery on his neck. And that's less than a year after you got married. And after he is now getting every other weekend with his children.
That is correct.
Okay.
And so I wasn't understanding, tried to question him more about it. And he said, well, I'm not going to fully retire. I'm going to go do contract work. And so I'll get my retirement and contract pay. And when you get pregnant, oh, actually, I'm sorry, I take that back. I was pregnant at the time with my first daughter, Rebecca. And he says, I'll do contract work and you'll stay home and take care of the baby when she comes. So I said, okay. So I was at the time working at Shiprock as a nurse. And as time went on, he kept more and more, and I found it odd at the time. He kept saying, Shiprock's a bad place to work. Those people are out to get other people. They won't like you. You got to get out of there. And I was like, well, I want to work until I basically have the baby. And he's like, no, you have to get out of there sooner. They're not nice people. They're mean and evil out there. They'll hurt you.
Did he give you any specific examples or anything that?
The only thing he told me was the people he worked with were all against him because his ex turned them against him.
Because his ex-wife turned them against him?
Yes.
Okay, and do you know where his ex-wife worked?
She worked in the physical therapy department.
In Shiprock as well?
In Shiprock.
Okay. So continue, sorry.
So then I was like, well, like I said, I want to keep working. And as it turns out, I ended up being an older pregnant woman having problems. So I ended up having to quit.
Okay.
And once I quit, I stayed home, had the baby. Things were starting to get ugly.
Okay, well, let me ask you real quick. When did you have your first child?
December of 2015.
December of 2015?
2013, I'm sorry.
December of 2013. Okay, thank you. And if you want to, you can say her name.
So I had Rebecca in 2013, and the pregnancy was hard, and he just started acting really weird towards me. All of a sudden,
in which way?
I'm sorry?
In which way?
All of a sudden he was starting to be very bossy and demanding and started using our religion as a weapon. If I didn't do something he said or did something he didn't like, all of a sudden I was not being a good, submissive, obedient wife.
Okay. And was that when you were still pregnant or after you'd had Rebecca?
It started when I was pregnant. It got worse after I had her.
Okay.
He
And
would
so, sorry, go ahead.
he would start to tell me, you need to be more obedient and submissive and set the example for our daughter.
Okay, and what did he feel that you weren't obeying him on? What kind of things?
It could be anything. It could be that I didn't cook the meal he wanted, or that I back talked him, or I disagreed with him, or I didn't want to do an activity he wanted to do, or
Let
I
me stop you
didn't.
real quick too. Let me ask you another question. What's the age difference between you, Mr. Thompson?
um thir- 13 years.
Okay. All right, continue. Sorry.
um he would just say things like that, or if I didn't do something the way he liked to do with Rebecca, he would say I was doing it wrong, I'm a bad parent. At that point in time, he started telling me that I shouldn't parent his children, which I found odd because I never tried to, because we're still getting to know each other. And just, and at that point too, little things were starting to set him off.
Okay.
And he also decided he was no longer going to work.
And what time frame was that?
That was about, Rebecca was about maybe 6 months old.
Okay, so maybe about June, July of 2014.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
So go ahead then from there.
so then after a while, things with his ex started getting ugly again. He was going to see his his first children at all their activities, even if it wasn't his parenting time. If he it was during the summer, if he found out the daycare was taking him swimming or to swimming lessons, he'd show up every morning at their swim lessons or at their pool time. If they were taking them to the park, he would be there at the park watching them. If they went
Let
on,
me ask you real quick. This is he's now on every other weekend and Wednesdays.
yes,
And so he's showing up even on the days he doesn't have court ordered parenting time.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
And so apparently this was upsetting her because he was interacting with the kids according to the court and telling them things about her he shouldn't be talking about. So they went back to court.
What kind of things was he saying about her?
How she's a bad woman. She's going to go to hell because she's living in sin with it. She's not married and living with a man. She hangs out. His big thing was at that time was that she was hanging around with lesbians and was going to turn his son gay.
Okay, and how old was his son at this time?
Probably 8,
Okay,
7 or 8.
all right.
That
Go
has
on.
been a big issue with his son for the longest period of time. Was he was scared to death because she had gay friends that they were going to turn him gay. So he was telling him
Does he
about,
have the same concern for his daughter?
no, he actually has been encouraging them to get boyfriends.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
But wait, was she encouraging boyfriends before high school?
I have a 9 and 10-year-old daughter currently, and he is currently asking them whether they have boyfriends or not.
And that is grade school by my quick math, right?
That is 4th and 5th grade.
Yeah. Thank you.
So he was
So,
saying like that
yeah.
to children, how their mother was bad, how she shouldn't have gay friends, how he should stay away from them. So they went back to court. And at that time, somehow he got into his head he was going to go to therapy. So he found a Christian therapist in Durango, and they started working like 1 or 2 sessions. And then they went back to court a second time after that. And the judge said, look, you can't just go to their activities and stuff like that. So fine. So it died off for a few months, and then it started back up again. where he was going to their school and volunteering in their classrooms, 4 hours in one child's classroom, 4 hours in another. So it's an 8-hour day twice a week. That upset me because I thought, well, if you're not going to be working, you can help me at home, because at the time I was pregnant again with my second daughter, Hannah.
What time frame was this?
It was still maybe fall of 2014.
Okay.
So when the judge said, when he went and started volunteering at their school 8 hours a day, twice a week, 4 hours in each classroom, it upset her because she couldn't come in for like activities and stuff. She didn't want to be around him. So they went back to court, and the judge ordered him to ask her when was a good time to go and do these volunteer activities so their schedules wouldn't collide. He never did that. Instead, he went back to this counselor, and she told him, well, if you want to see the kids, what you can do is be a substitute teacher for the school. So he went and he got his substitute teacher's license, and he did that. The only problem with that is he didn't like it. He said the kids talked back to him. They wouldn't listen. He wasn't always assigned to their classroom, or he wasn't near their classrooms. They expected him to go to other schools, and he couldn't, work it to where he was just in their elementary school. So all of a sudden, out of the blue, he quit. He told me he quit because the students were rude. He couldn't get control of the classrooms, and the teachers wouldn't cooperate with him to help him. And then at church one day, I heard him tell a person that he quit because he was on his feet too much, that he was never allowed to sit down. And that upset me because, once again, you're at home and you're not interacting with the kids. You're not helping, but you're expecting me to do everything to your standards.
How were you financially getting by at this time? Were you working?
No, I was not working. We were relying on his retirement alone. He hadn't decided to file for disability yet. So it was just on his retirement. I was given
Do you remember how much you guys were living off of at the time?
I want to say $8,000
A month?
a month.
Okay. So decent income.
Yes. I was given an allowance and a joint credit card so I could get groceries and things for the kids. But when I did
what was your allowance?
At that time, it was $80 a month.
$80 a month or
Yes.
a week? A month?
A month.
Okay. And what were you to spend that money on?
That was money that I was allowed to spend on anything that I would need or want.
For yourself?
For myself.
Okay.
Or for the kids
For yourself or for the kids?
Or for the kids, like if they wanted a toy or something.
Okay.
Does that cover like toothpaste, medical expenses, or is that stuff that could come out of the joint account then?
At that time, that was coming out of the joint account.
Okay, so if you want to buy deodorant for yourself, that can come out of the joint account?
Yes, at the time.
Okay, so kind of like the entertainment budget then. Okay.
Yeah, kind of like if I wanted to buy lunch, or if I wanted to buy some new clothes,
or like
get some
your haircut
Redbox
or
movies or
something.
something. Yeah. Okay.
So then, so I had that allowance. I was at home, and then for a while things settled down a little bit before Hannah was born. But when
when was Hannah born?
Hannah was born March 20th of 2015. And right before she was born, we had a huge fight because I was to have a scheduled C-section. And the doctor said, this is the dates I want you to do it, because I was having problems again with this pregnancy. She wasn't growing. And she says, I want you to come in and we're going to deliver you on this week.
Mm.
Well, he didn't like that idea because it fell on spring break with his kids. And he didn't want it interrupted. Well, nature took its course and she came 3 weeks early. So that didn't happen, but he was still a little upset because he wanted her on her due date and that just didn't happen. So
What was Hannah in like NICU then or anything?
no, shockingly, she was able to go home.
Yeah.
Both of my babies were born early. Like Rebecca was a month early, Hannah was 3 weeks early, but they were both able to go home. They're just tiny and took a lot of attention.
Sure. And what also just real quick, but based on my math here, so you'd have become pregnant with Hannah around June 2014, about when Ricky stopped working. Was Hannah a planned pregnancy then?
Well, we weren't practicing birth control and I wanted another child.
Okay.
He had
That's fine.
said, no, he had said he did, but when he found out I was pregnant, he was pissed off. He was mad for weeks, which I
Okay.
couldn't understand because we had talked about having a second child, but all of a sudden he didn't want another child. So
Pretty convenient he was stopping working, so that's why I was wondering. So cool.
Can I ask you real quick, just insurance wise, were you getting coverage of insurance for your pregnancies?
I was on his insurance, but each pregnancy, like the first one was covered more, pretty much all covered because he had had his surgery, so we met the deductible. But with Hannah, I ended up having to dip into my savings and pay what I owed, which was like $10,000. So
Your personal savings?
yes, because he
Ricky would
said
not.
cover it all.
He said what?
He said he couldn't cover all the expense.
Okay.
Yep.
Ricky's your first marriage, right?
Actually, it's my second marriage.
Okay.
So,
I just wondered.
no, all is well.
Yeah.
So I had Hannah, and then they went on spring break, and that was hard for me because I was expected to care for my 15-month-old, almost 15-month-old, my newborn baby, and his 2 kids.
Mm.
And he was upset because he couldn't go to his parents' house for spring break because I have a 3-week-old baby and recovering from a C-section, and he was upset that we couldn't go all down there right away.
Okay.
So
Is that who has the cuckoo clock?
that's my parents' house. So.
Okay. I like it. That's funny. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
So things were really hard at that time with 4 kids, expected to do everything. And so what happened is I think Hannah is down the road. It was summertime. So maybe she was March, April, May, June, is in June or July. So she was 4 or 5 months old. I had a medical procedure, but we went to his parents' house in Texas anyway. That was not a good trip because I'm recovering from laparoscopic abdominal surgery, and I have a toddler and a baby, and he wants to go to this water park with the kids, and I can't go because I'm not allowed to go into the water because of my wounds. I still had another, I think, 2 weeks to go before I could get in the water, and he was mad because I wouldn't bring the toddler and the baby and go with him to a water park. So that was a horrible visit. And so I ended up having to stay at his parents' house while he took the kids to this water park. And that was a nightmare because his mother's not a fun person. And so we did that, and he was all upset the whole time. Coming home, he was upset. And it's just like the whole marriage, he was always upset about something or someone. So about, I think it was 2017, we weren't getting along. Imagine that. And at that point, about earlier in the year, he had sat me down and said, And he's gotten really religious. I mean, just really deep into religion, which is fine, but he got really, really deep into it. And he sat me down and he said, when I'm not around, my son Waylon's in charge. And I
how
said, no,
old
you're
is
not.
he?
Oh, I think he was maybe,
7,
well,
8.
it'd be 2017. So maybe he was like 10 or 11, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And,
Oh, 17.
and
Waylon just turned 18 in May.
he turned 19 in May, I believe.
19 in May. 19 in May.
No, I think it was in November. Sorry, 19 in November.
Okay.
So anyway, he sat me down. He said, when I'm not around, Waylon's in charge. It's the biblical thing to do. And I said, no, we're not going to have a boy in charge of us. He goes, well, he's going to be in charge. And he sat down the girls. He told me he's in charge. And I stood up to him and I said, he's not going to be in charge. This is ridiculous. This is a child being in charge of an adult and other children. We don't do that. He goes, this is a biblical household. You're going to follow my rules or else. Fine, whatever. I let it go. At that point in time, I'd gone back to work in 2016 because he had told me if I did, I was either to go back to work or get out. So I went back to work. And so I was at work, at work and I come through the door and he goes, have you read your emails? I'm like, no, I haven't read my emails. I literally just got off work and walked in the door. He goes, well, you need to check your emails. Okay, fine. So I love on the kids. I sit down, I check my emails, and lo and behold, there's an eviction notice. He gave me 30 days to get out of the house.
I have a copy of that, Patricia, if you want to show it. I have it pulled up if you'd like me to share it with Kirk.
Yeah, whatever you like, it's fine.
Yeah, let's give it a read down one more time.
I think it might be worth it. Hold on one second.
Just for a little levity. Sorry, wait, really quick before we go back. So if you're working, the little kids, they're at daycare, then I'm assuming.
He had them with him, but they were in, like, Rebecca was in preschool, and Hannah was still.
Oh, so he's staying home with the little kids.
Yes, Rebecca's in preschool almost a whole day. Hannah's a little few months shy of being in preschool.
Okay.
So I went back.
Are you dropping them off and picking them up then?
No, he insisted that he had to do that.
Okay. Just trying to figure out the dynamic of how this is all working.
Oh,
question too. Wait, real quick question. As far as the stepkids, how frequently are they at the house at this point in time in 2017?
They are every other weekend and every Wednesday. He will not let them miss a visit for any reason.
But so he's seeing them 4 to 6 overnights a month?
5, 10 days a month.
Okay, and then a couple of partial visit, or is it an overnight Wednesday or just a?
It's just the evening visit.
After school visit?
Yes.
Okay, so only 4 to 6 overnights a month?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Keep going, sorry.
So the dynamic of the household was he's in charge. You don't question his word or else you are punished.
Okay. And
So
I got the eviction notice here. If you want me to, I can read it. It's dated December 14th, 2017. It was written at 12:04. I'm not sure if that was AM or PM. It says, Dear Tricia, it is with a heavy heart that I write this. As you are well aware, shortly after you moved in, we created the Thompson House Rules. As you know, each and every single member of this household that had been born at the time was given input into these rules, including you. Okay, I want to stop right there. So when did you move into the household? That was 2013, correct?
No, 2012.
2012, November 2012, or December of 2012. And his children were 4 and 5 years old at that point in time, or approximately?
Yeah, pretty much like that.
So did you guys have a family meeting to come up with these rules?
No, not so much a meeting as he one day showed up and said, I have rules to this house. he had them printed out on cardstock in a frame that he then proceeded to hang on the wall at the entrance of the house.
Okay, so did you have input into the rules?
I didn't feel I had input because I felt pressure to say yes, or I was going to be something bad was going to happen.
Okay, I'm going to keep reading. Each and every single member of this household at that time agreed to live by those rules, including you. This was before your daughters were born, again, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, in the time since you've repeatedly violated these rules, can you tell me what some of the Thompson House rules were?
You are to respect everybody, apologize for wrongs, be obedient to the head of the household, obey God in everything. There were, I think, 10 to 15, if I can remember correctly. I don't, I just pushed that out of my mind.
Sure, sure. No, I'm sure that's probably traumatic. Thank you for
You mean
answering
you didn't
that.
get a tattoo with the Thompson House rules on your arm so you would never forget?
No, but they were at the front door, so anybody who walked
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm going to keep reading. In particular, you've been incredibly disrespectful of other members of this household and their belongings. While others have at times also violated these rules, they have also shown remorse for their actions when confronted, apologized to those whom they wronged, and demonstrated a willingness to do better. Sadly, you have not demonstrated the same. I'm just going to ask you: was there like a particular event that caused him to write this to you?
According to his email, it was because I disrespected his son.
Okay, so that goes on further in here, but do you recall him confronting you about that?
No.
Okay. He continues, right? I am dismayed at the way you continue to be overly critical and disrespectful of Waylon and their child. You have outright voiced within their hearing that you do not want them in this house. This is in spite of the fact that they were members of this household long before you joined us. Um, uh, do you know of anything that specific that you said to the 4 and 5-year-old kids, or however old they were at this time, that you know
The
he's
only
talking?
the only thing I can recall is telling them, you don't talk to me that way.
Okay, and
Because
how were they talking to you?
they were disrespectful. They would say mean things, especially his son, because apparently I was supposed to bow down to another male in the household, and I just refused to be submissive and obedient to a child.
Okay. So then he says, yesterday, as I was cooking dinner, Waylon respectfully asked me if there's anything he could do to help. I believe it is obvious that this is conduct that should be encouraged. I asked Waylon if he could clear the dinner table or table for dinner. It is interesting to note that the items on the table that needed to be cleared were items that belonged to me and homeschooling items. Since I am the one that homeschools Rebecca and Hannah, there was nothing that involved you. However, you responded by very disrespectfully told Waylon that you didn't want him touching anything because he was too clumsy. Do you recall having a discussion like that with Waylon?
No.
Okay. When I tried to point out that Waylon was only doing what I asked him, you responded with disrespectful personal insults against me. Do you remember having a confrontation about this?
No, because Ricky Thompson wouldn't cook a meal if I was around to cook it until later in the marriage.
Okay. The insults only stopped when I informed you I was going to start recording the conversation. So do you recall this incident at all?
All I know, all I can remember is me telling his son not to talk to me like that I'm an adult and I need to be respected.
Okay. Continuing on, as you well know, such outbursts of disrespect against other members of this household from you have been a long-running source of contention. What does he mean by with "as you well know"? Were there other emails like this, or
No, that's
um,
email, but if I talk back to him or didn't agree with him or go along with what he said to do, it was considered outbursts, disrespectful, things like that. He would yell at me to tell me I was not being submissive and I wasn't a Christian woman, and a Christian woman would be submissive and shut her mouth.
did he actually use those words, submissive?
Submissive, obedient, and shut your mouth.
Okay. You've been repeatedly warned on dozens of occasions over this and repeatedly reminded of the Thompson House rules, of which you have firmly agreed to be fair and reasonable and agreed to abide by. Be hereby notified that if you're going to continue to live within this household, you will be expected to comply with those rules. Should you choose otherwise, you're hereby notified that you should remove yourself from the premises of the Thompson household for 433 Aaron Street, Cortez, Colorado, no later than 3 p.m., January 31st of 2018. From your husband, Ricky. So let me just ask you, what happened as a result of you receiving this email?
I went straight to my attorney, Jill Carlson, and said, what do I do?
Okay, and when you came to see me, do you recall, was it 2017 or 2018? I know it was the end of the year.
It was 2017, back when you had an office.
Mm-hmm. And did you follow through with the protection order or divorce or anything at that time?
No,
Okay, why not?
because I was too scared of the threats he would make against me.
Okay, what kind of threats did he make against you? Well, let me ask you this. Let's back up for a second. In 2017,
Actually,
sure, go ahead.
Jill, is it okay if I quick interject?
Sure.
So Tricia, real quick, at this time, so you're working. What's your social life like? Do you have like friends that you're able to talk to about any of this sort of stuff? Or
I was only allowed to socialize from people from our church. I tried to have,
That's the church that you got married in?
yes,
did you have coworkers that you're able to talk about kind of your home life with or
I
anything really?
tried to, but I was too scared he would find out.
Okay. Okay. Was there any kind of like physical assaults or anything at this point that you'd be scared of, or just like the way he would just talk to you or treat you, or
It was both. He would chest bump me on occasion, but it's more the threats of taking my children, of
okay.
changing the locks on the doors and locking me out of the house.
I want to go back really quick to one thing, the chest bumping. For context, I know that we can only really see you from, chest up. Would you just describe the physical difference between you and Mr. Thompson as far as your body physique and size?
I'm 5'4", 5'5". As of now, I weigh about 145. He is 6 foot. At that time, he weighed at least 185 to 200 pounds. He worked out and lifted weights and did that kind of stuff.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Continue on.
Can I just throw in one other quick thing? We've mentioned a whole lot about like church and religion and stuff like that. Was that one of the things that initially like attracted you to him then, I'm assuming?
Yes, because I'm a Christian and I believe in what the Bible says, and he said he did too. Except after I found out we were married, he believes in super far right.
Gotcha. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that was like something that you were kind of expecting to be a part of your relationship. So
yeah, but not what he did. No,
not the way it developed.
not
Okay.
the way he turned it into. No.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So where were we at?
Where I came to your office about this email,
yes.
and what.
So you came to my office, and at that time you chose not to leave. But did you take any steps to protect yourself at that point in time?
No.
Okay, and so what happened as a result of the eviction letter email?
Well, I found out he couldn't evict me. But I started becoming a little more cautious at home. I guess you call it walking on eggshells. I started saving my allowances. I wouldn't spend it.
And how much were you getting as an allowance at this point in time?
At that point, it was still $80.
Okay.
Where's your paycheck going?
It was going into a joint account that he was using that money to pay off the mortgage of the house.
Okay.
And let me back up for 1 second. You said you moved into his house. Was your name on the property?
No.
that you moved into?
No,
Whose name was on the property?
it was his.
Okay, and so he's not working at this point in time. Is he using his retirement monies to pay for the mortgage?
No, he was using my entire paycheck.
Okay, continue on, please.
So at that point, I was saving my allowances. I was walking on eggshells. I was just doing anything not to set this man off. And at that point, he started taking trips to Texas on his vacations with the kids by himself,
Without you?
without me.
Did you
With all
discuss
the
that?
kids?
Yes, with all the kids.
Did you ever like discuss that? Was it like something you negotiated or agreed to?
I felt obligated to agree to it because he would always decide to take his vacations when I couldn't get off work.
Okay.
I would say I can get this time period off, and sometimes he'd go, okay, great. And other times he goes, no, F you. I'm doing it regardless.
Okay.
So
He's taking vacations and he's retired.
I'm sorry.
He's taking vacations and he's retired at this point, right?
Yes, he would take anytime he had the kids, like on a spring break, a fall break, Christmas, whatever, he would go to his parents' house.
Okay.
We never actually took vacations as a family other than to his parents' house.
Okay.
Never to Disney World or not Disneyland or nothing?
No, it was either my parents' house or his parents' house. He said when we had off time, we had to be with family.
Hmm.
Couldn't skip a visit and go to the Grand Canyon or anything like that. He determined all that.
Were his other siblings there as well?
Yes, most of the time we'd see his sister. His brother-in-law wouldn't really come around because his parents really didn't like him and he didn't like him. And
So
there
kind
were,
of like situation with you.
yeah, where he said he claimed his brother-in-law poorly invested money his dad gave him and lost it all. And that he's always borrowing money. And I'm like, okay, whatever. At that point, I was like, whatever.
Okay.
So, so where were we?
Um, Nothing happened from the initial meeting with Jill, and then we're
Yeah.
jumping into 2018.
Yeah, so going along, it was more the same, but it was getting worse. He was now constantly saying he's going to take the kids if I didn't listen to him. He's going to lock me out of the house.
Did he ever lock you out of the house?
No, I always kept keys on me. And I guess it never occurred to him that he could hire a locksmith to change the locks. But I always had my keys on me, always had a cell phone on me, just because for a while he would take my cell phone and he wouldn't give it back.
For how long?
I'm sorry?
For how long?
It could be for an hour or two, it could be for a day. And then I switched positions at the hospital I worked at. So then I was on call for a lot. So I had to have my phone. And that's when it really escalated where he would try to get my phone. And the only way to keep him from getting my phone was to put it down into my bra because I knew he wouldn't go there.
Okay.
So I was
Say,
doing that.
Jill, sorry, you might want to take down the eviction notice thing as the
Oh, sure.
main thing
Okay.
to look at. So
Thank you. Sorry about that.
sorry, you're just being compelling, Trisha.
Yeah,
So-
right.
So I was carrying keys around all the time. Had my phone usually in my pocket, or I wouldn't set it down because I just had a feeling I would never see it again. Especially if I was on call, he'd try to grab my phone. At that point, I was starting to feel isolated at church, and I couldn't figure out why for the longest time. And it was just his behaviors were getting worse. He was becoming more secretive. And so time's going on, at about 20, I think it was 2021. Yeah, it was 2021. We got into an argument because I can't remember what it was. I was supposed to go do something for one of his kids, buy them something. And I said, no, I don't think it's appropriate. So he said, well, if you can't obey me and listen to me and do as I tell you, like you should, I'm just going to cut you off of the finances. So he canceled the joint credit card. He took the checkbook away, said I couldn't have that. So I said, fine, whatever. So I went and applied for a credit card and got one. I went and tried to get a debit card for the joint account, and it never came in the mail. So something happened and I never thought about that again because I just had my own credit card. And at that time as well, he told me I was too stupid to cook and shop. So I was no longer allowed to shop for the family or cook their meals. The cooking meals things lasted maybe 6 months. It was on and off, on and off. It depended on his mood.
You're working as a nurse also, right?
Yes.
Too stupid to cook, but you're a nurse. Got it.
Yes. Okay. And at that time I was at a different job, a more 9 to 5, so I could be home with the kids because I was very uncomfortable leaving the kids with any period of time with him.
Sure.
Because
why is that?
Anytime I came home, I'd walk up the sidewalk and get to the door and they're screaming and yelling and they're crying. And as soon as I walk in the door, they're crying, saying, Daddy threw away my toy. Daddy's spanking me. Daddy's yelling. Daddy's screaming. Daddy says I'm bad. Just all this stuff. And so I changed jobs so I could spend more time with them and have a more normal schedule. Because at this point they're in school. So at least they're not home with him during the day, and they're only home with him for maybe 2 hours before I got home from work.
Okay, I want to stop real quick and I'm gonna have you go back a little bit. So we're in 2021 now, but I want to go back to 2020. What happened during 2020? COVID.
Oh yes. The school was closed for maybe 2 weeks tops. And all of a sudden he said he homeschooled them the whole time. The whole time of COVID, all this time, and he didn't. The school was only because it was a private school and they didn't receive any federal money. They weren't subjected to the same rules.
Was it a private, what was it, a Christian school?
It's a private Christian school at a different church, at a Baptist church.
Okay, not the church that y'all attend.
No.
Okay.
That church focused on homeschooling kids.
Okay.
So he had said,
were you working as a nurse during COVID?
Yes, I was. I was in the OR, except the OR was closed except for emergency C-sections. So I was working in the hospital doing security, housekeeping, anything like that. I was working the COVID unit when they got that up and running, things like that.
Okay. And so what was it like when you were in the house with Ricky during COVID? Was there any changes?
Yes, there was. He became extremely paranoid that I was going to bring COVID home. He told me if I bring COVID into the house, he was going to kill me.
He said he was going to kill. Wait, he said he was going to kill you?
Yes. If I got them infected with COVID.
Okay. Was he still having parenting time at this point in time with the stepkids?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That November, he still went to Texas without me, despite COVID. All of a sudden, it was okay for him to go.
Did he take the children?
Yes. I disagreed. I said, look, we probably shouldn't, because if they get sick or something, well, I can't miss a visit with my parents. And so he went. And then that little later on, there was several times during the marriage where his mother would call and say his father's dying, and he'd have to drop everything and just rush over there with the kids. And it turns out it wasn't.
With the children?
With the children.
Did you ever hear those phone calls?
Never. And because when he would get there, sudden Daddy was back.
Okay,
The
so
one
that's just what Ricky told you.
that just what Ricky told me. So
Okay.
I went to my new job over at the health department. I get a phone call. He says his father had fallen and broken his hip like a month before. So he calls me on the phone and says, my dad's dying. He's at home on hospice. He's dying. He won't wear his oxygen. I need to get out there. I said, okay, fine. He says, I'm going to go get the kids out of school and take them down there. They need to see him before he dies. I said, okay, fine. Just bring them by so I can say goodbye to them. Because I'd seen them in the morning and I wanted to see them before they went. Well, he didn't. This was in 2022. So he didn't do that. He instead took them from school and went off radar for 16 hours. I called.
What do you mean off? What do you mean off radar?
I couldn't get a hold of him for 16 hours. I texted, I called, he wouldn't answer, nothing. I finally got a phone call that night, and that was in the morning. He called me. It was like 9 in the morning, I think. And finally at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, I get a phone call that they're checking into a hotel. And I said, can I talk to the kids? He goes, no, we're too tired. Bye. And hung up the phone. So I'm worried, scared to death, going, what is going on? So then the next day, he calls in the morning and says, didn't make it down. My dad's dead. Are you going to fly out? I said, yeah, I'll fly out. So I flew out, spent the weekend. And when I left, because I had to be back at work on Monday, so I left Sunday night, last flight out. And I said, so when are you coming home? He goes, I don't know when I'm coming home. I was like, what? Well, I don't know when I'm coming home. My father just died. I was like, okay. And this was, at the funeral as we're packing it up, because I have to go from the wake to the airport. And he goes, it just all depends on what's going on here. And I was like, I would like to know, because they've already missed a lot of school and stuff like that. And they need to be home. The average funeral's 3 to 4 days. Well, he goes, how long
had they been there at that point?
I want to say at least 4 days.
Okay.
What time of year is this?
2022.
Like fall, spring, school year?
It was in the school year. They left.
I want to say he died in the spring, because I think they got the check in like July.
Yeah, it was in the spring.
Okay.
I think it was like a Wednesday or a it was a Wednesday or a Thursday, and I flew out Friday evening after work.
So towards the end of the school year, at least.
Yeah.
Also, really quick, are you having smartphones for all this right now? Like when he would take your cell phone away and stuff like that?
Yeah, it was like an iPhone 8.
I just want to make sure we weren't dealing like flip phones or nothing.
No, it was an iPhone 8. So I'm fixing to leave to go to the airport. When you coming home? I don't know. I could another week. And I said, what? The girls can't, miss a week of school. That's ridiculous. Why? Blah, 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 blah. And he starts screaming. So I was like, fine, whatever. So I get home Monday morning. I call him, and apparently he thought, I guess his family was going to hang out for a week and mourn this man's loss. But they all left. So he was pissed that they all left, and he headed home on Monday. So the kids actually.
The next day. So the day after you flew out, the next day is when they headed home?
The next day he headed home. So that scared me a lot. Because.
Let's just stop really quickly here too. First of all, Patricia, do you need some water?
No, I'm good. Thank you. I've got allergy thing going. Sorry.
But I was gonna say I think we're actually at exactly 1 hour.
Wow.
If we want to stop here, I kind of could use a little potty break.
Okay.
So what I'm thinking is,
that's cool.
And let's pick up right here, because I think, first of all, thank you, Patricia. This is actually way more in depth than you've ever actually gone with me. I'm learning things I didn't know. Thank you for sharing it. So
you're welcome.
All right, let's take like a 10. We'll come back at like 10:43, 10:44ish.
Yeah, that'll work.
Sure, sounds good.